people don't drink as much soda when the weather's warm, but then again, don't they sell water too?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, these are about stories when you need a story as opposed to about underlying reality, right? So obviously, the street has fairly thin volumes in the summer, being hot, people are away from the desk. Bad news can ramify a little bit more dramatically than it might in a busier time of year when more hands are on deck. And so you need a story to push back on the negativity. And when nothing else kind of works, you talk about the weather or various ethereal patterns that are clearly just there to be talked about because they're not your fault.
Even Google, which is the company you cover, you were on that earnings call. They mentioned the spring weather in the UK. There was a lot of other stuff going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Google had a good quarter, less good than people expected, better than last year, less than people thought. And they had to come up with a story. In a sort of weaker, less particularly profound moment, we heard some basically shamalama ding dong about spring weather in the United Kingdom. If Google's really is going to be earnings dependent on the spring weather patterns in the UK, given what we all know about weather in London, I think we should all be nervous.
And Microsoft, they did not pre-announce, and yet they came out with some pretty dramatic numbers that were pretty upsetting to the market. The stock's having a terrible day. What went on there?
Well, Microsoft's had a good run with a lot of hope about particularly penetration into cloud and into the consumer products areas. In other words, modernizing itself to be more competitive with names like Apple and Google that have been kind of taking some of their lunch for quite some time now. What's a little bit puzzling is there has been a huge management shakeup, which is probably the reason, but the $900 million write-down on the surface, which they had sort of pushed as a reason to be bullish on them at Microsoft, is exactly what you always pre-announce. And the fact that they didn't sort of speaks to maybe the management shakeup in there, but it wasn't a great idea, and you can see them suffering for that today.